What's good, YouTube? It's your boy RevoJay back at it again with another scary story Wednesday, bro. This is part 2, okay? Well, not part 2, but this is like a episode 2 or whatever. But anyway, let's get into this video. You feel me?
When I was 18, I only just recently got out of a relationship with a significant other, and I wanted to see other people. I took up online dating on this app that I don't want to name. I never told my parents about my previous relationship, or the guys that I talked to online, so they know nothing about this story. But I still need to tell them one day. Anyway, within a short period of time, I received lots of messages from guys. Most of them were perverts, or just didn't catch my attention, until a cute guy messaged me. I forgot his name, so we'll just call him Justin. Justin was around 23 years old at the time. When he messaged me, he told me how attractive I was and showered me with affection and romantic text messages. I was naive at the time, so I was awed and blushed when he told me all that. We started to get to know each other. He was living in Canada, and I was a Polish girl living in the United States.
We had a few hobbies in common, and we both went to college.
I was studying to be a police officer to get an associate's degree, and he was going to university to get a bachelor's degree.
Y'all been living the same
And
state.
eventually, his messages started to make me uncomfortable. He said that he preferred white girls over Asian girls, and that he always wanted to have sex with a white girl. He asked me if I was still a virgin, and even though I felt uncomfortable, I said yes. He started talking to me sexually, and I didn't like it, but I complied. Then he asked me if I could visit him sometime in Canada, even though I just met him a couple days ago. Living with my parents in a strict Polish household, I told him that I couldn't because of that. He then argued that I was an adult and I could make my own decisions, which was true, but as a Polish person, you still have to listen to your parents even though you're an adult. Of course, I did tell him that I lived in the United States, but I didn't tell him exactly where I live. He then asked me if I lived in XYZ town in XYZ state. I was shocked when he asked this because I never told him exactly where I lived, and on my profile, I did not give out my location, so I have no idea how he found out about that. I lied to him and said that I didn't, but he said I was lying, and I confessed. Then he asked me
for my address, but I refused to give it to him.
Got angry.
Are you autistic?
Everyone gave their address out, which of course I knew wasn't true. I then blocked him, but the story doesn't end there.
Oh, it doesn't?
A few weeks later, I heard that in my neighborhood, there was a break-in. 2 men broke into a house, but they didn't steal anything. Instead, they might have been looking for someone. My heart jumped when I heard this. Justin was looking
Darkness.
for me. A couple houses later, and they gave up. I waited a while later, and I have not heard about anything like this again. I dread to think what might have happened if Justin found the right house in my neighborhood and kidnapped me.
Darkness. Alright, story 2.
Let's play a game, sniper. I got
House sitting horror story.
I was 16 when this happened to me, and it still haunts me to this day. My older brother's friend gave me work of house sitting his rather large house for 2 days, with the pay rate being $100 a night. For the sake of privacy reasons, let's call my brother's friend Nick. $200 was a lot for such a simple task as house sitting, and since I recently sold my PlayStation 3 to save up for a PlayStation 4, the job came as godsend. At around 6 p.m., Nick picked me up and drove me to his house, as it was getting dark out. Once we got there, he told me about the security cameras he had installed in and out of his home. But I didn't have any intentions of staring at any security monitor all night, as I had brought my laptop to pass the time. After some time had passed, I felt hungry and decided to grab something from the fridge. But as I got up to make my way down, I saw movement out of the corner of my eye from the monitor. I sat back down, closing my laptop and taking a closer look. noticing the movement coming from camera 4. Upon closer inspection, I noticed that it was a
That looked like the dude from One Punch Man.
standing outside the house. Within seconds of glancing away from the monitor,
Darkness.
the man was gone. At that very moment, I heard glass shatter somewhere downstairs, causing me to immediately look at the cameras.
Let me find out he investigated.
In through the basement window at an alarming rate. I started to panic, watching him climb the basement stairs with a knife clenched in his hand. I quickly locked the door to my room and dialed 911, explaining everything. I watched the monitor, terrified to see the man on the same floor as mine, desperately opening and closing the
Darkness.
doors, looking for anyone to cross his path. I pressed my ear against the door, straining to hear his man.
Bruh, run out the house. Are you
He
autistic?
attempted to open it. Realizing I was in there, he began to shout and pound on the door aggressively, frightening me to the very core. As I sat there shaking, I heard sirens in the distance, steadily getting louder and louder. My fear quickly disappeared as I heard the man run towards
Did you see how that man was built? Like, look at him. He looks like he needs food. You talking about you're hungry?
Police, put your hands in the air.
Moments later, I walked downstairs and saw the intruder in a pair of handcuffs being escorted to the police cruiser. I thanked one of the officers and called Nick, explaining everything to him. After about 20 minutes, he picked me up and took me home. But I got no sleep that night. All I could think of was how lucky I was to be alive. And if the cops hadn't shown up when they did, I wouldn't be here to tell this story.
Alright. That's it for Scary Story Wednesday, bro. I'm getting chills. That doesn't make any sense, though. He just sat in the house and didn't even move from that room. Still confused on why that dude went for that house exactly, but hey, woo! Alright, y'all, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment for more videos like this, you feel me? That way or no way, you feel me? Revo up next, let's get it.